All right, but now it's time for our favorite part of the call here. And so I think we have Guy on the call. Do I have Guy on the call?
Hello.
Guy, is that you?
I am, yes.
Awesome. All right, well, let me read your bio first, and then I'll start talking to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is Guy's bio. Guy Kawasaki is the Chief Evangelist of Canva, Trustee of the Wikimedia Foundation, and Executive Fellow at the Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley. Formerly, he was an advisor to the Motorola Business Unit of Google and Chief Evangelist of Apple. He is the author of The Art of the Start 2.0, The Art of Social Media, Enchantment, and 10 other books. Guy has a BA from Stanford University and an MBA from UCLA, as well as an honorary doctorate from Babson College. Most of you probably know him because he's one of the Apple employees originally responsible for marketing the Macintosh in 1984. So welcome to the call, Guy.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
All right, so Guy, we have job seekers all across the world on this call, and they're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on what they might be able to do to improve their odds of landing a job. So just to start out, since you popularized the term evangelist, can you please tell us what an evangelist is and how does one become one?
Okay. So an evangelist is someone who spreads the good news. The Greek term is evangelism, and that's what it means, bringing the good news. So as a Macintosh evangelist, I brought the good news of Macintosh, and now I'm chief evangelist of a company called Canva out of Sydney, Australia, which is an online graphics tool. And so I'm bringing the good news of what Canva can do to help people create graphics. And how does one become an evangelist? Well, the start of great evangelism is that you find or create a great product. Because I have tried to evangelize great stuff and I have tried to evangelize crap, and it is a lot easier with great stuff.
I hear
so
you.
that's the start.
Well, that's good. I love it. So now, did you have a plan for your career at an early age when you were like
Are
a
you
young
kidding
child?
me? No, I didn't. No.
So, like, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
Oh God, I can't. I'm 61 years old. I can't even remember what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You didn't
I'm
want to
not
be like
complete.
a veterinarian or a doctor or a lawyer or something like that? Nothing
I,
like that?
I wish I could paint this awesome picture where at 8 years old I was already had a paper route, and I was making, I don't know, coconut shell necklaces or something, and like what a great story, inspiration, all that. It's simply not true.
Uh-huh.
At least I don't remember it being true. So,
All right, well, that's okay. That's okay.
I hate to disappoint you.
That's all right. It's totally cool. I can't even remember what mine was, but I'm pretty sure I
Oh, you
wanted to be
see?
a
Well,
vet.
so it's not just me.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to be a vet, and I think I wanted to be a stewardess, which is now called
Yeah.
a flight attendant, but I'm pretty sure those are mine. I think every kid has just basic stuff. So anyway, but you did say something. I read that you said that your AP English teacher was a major influence on your life because he taught you that the key to writing is editing. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little more about that?
Yes. So I have written in my career 13 books.
I
The last,
know.
yeah, The Art of Start 2.0 and The Art of Social Media. And I think many people have a completely incorrect idea about what writing a book involves. And they think it's you sitting down at a windswept beach, and you're using a fountain pen, and you're using paper that was handmade by Tibetan monks, and your kids are all asleep and they have straight A's, no ADHD, no learning issues, no behavioral issues. They're all, they got 2,400 in their SATs, 4.2, and Harvard, Dartmouth, and Stanford are all competing for them. So now you're at your beach house and your life is perfect, and you sit down and the words start flowing out of your brain, through your arm, through the 18-karat gold nib Mont Blanc pen to your Tibetan-made paper. And let me tell you something. There is not one thing I said in there that is true about writing. So writing is painful, and you put it on your word processor, usually Microsoft Word. And in my case, my theory is I outline as much as I can, the most complete outline I can create, and then I fill in the outline just as fast as I can. I actually have a gross term for this. I think of writing a book, stage one is you're vomiting out everything you have onto the page. And then the next 6 to 9 months you spend refining that vomit, which is taking out the undigested particles of food until you're left with nothing but nutrition. And so the hard part of writing is not writing, it's editing.
I love it. That's funny because that's kind of what happened with my book. I had a
Yeah.
brain dump, and then I edited, and then I edited, and then I edited, and that's how I got my book. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. I totally agree. So funny. I
Well,
never
that's two
thought
of
of it
us.
as vomit, but but I get it. I do get it. Um, so and now for the rest of my life, I'm going to think of it, thanks to you, as vomit. So I'm always going to remember this conversation.
Well, I
So
hope
it's
you
awesome.
remember it fondly.
I do. I do. No, it's a really great explanation of it. That's what's so good about it. But all right, now the other thing you said that I read about is that you learned how to sell in your first career. You were in the jewelry business, which is
Yes.
interesting. And you
Yes.
said that you learned how to sell there, and you said that was a very valuable lesson. So tell us why that was a valuable lesson.
It's a very valuable lesson because I believe that when you come right down to it, in life, you are always selling. Now, it might not be, selling used cars, but at some level, you are selling, whether you're dating, whether you're trying to get an upgrade from a reservationist, whether you are trying to get a reservation at a restaurant without a reservation, trying to get a job, obviously, trying to get a promotion, trying to get your boss's approval, trying to get your wife's approval. You're always selling. If your lips are moving, you're probably selling in life. That's just the way it is.
I could not agree more. In fact, I tell people this all the time, that everybody should get a job in sales for
Yeah.
just a month. Just do it for a month. You'll learn how to sell, and you'll be able to ask for a raise. Exactly everything that you were saying. I talk about this all the time, so
Well,
we agree
I
about that.
think, yeah, I think that in a startup in particular, there's only two fundamental functions in a startup. You're either making it or you're selling it. So you need an engineer and you need a salesperson. This is, was and jobs. And everything else is secondary. You don't need operations, you don't need finance, you don't need all that stuff. All that stuff, if you can't make something and sell it, you don't need to have all the other stuff. If you can make something and sell it, you can hire somebody to do the other stuff. So selling is the key.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just for everybody that entered the contest, we're going to close the contest off now. So thank you for entering. We've got a lot of entries, and we'll let you know at the end of the call who won. But getting back to you, Guy, how did you get the job at Apple? And also, and better, I think everybody else wants to know, why did you leave? But I think they want to know that for sure. How did you get the
Yeah.
job? Why did you leave? Yeah.
Okay, so in hiring, there's one sort of generally accepted practice, which is you look for someone who has the right educational background and the right work experience, who you basically get along with. So there's that kind of fit on three levels: education, work, and personality. I would add another variable to that, which is, do they get it? Do they love what you do? Do they understand what you do? And so I came to this theory because of my own background. So I have an undergraduate degree in psychology because that's the easiest major I could find. And then I went to law school after that, and I quit after 2 weeks because I couldn't stand it. The following year, I went and got an MBA in marketing. And after that, I went to work for a fine jewelry manufacturer in Los Angeles, family-owned jewelry manufacturer. While all my other classmates were going to investment banks and consulting firms, I went to a jewelry manufacturer. Okay, so if you look at my background so far, you wouldn't exactly say, well, this is ideal for Apple. Someone with a jewelry background, with a psych degree, who dropped out of law school and has an MBA in marketing. There is nothing in my background that would be on paper appropriate for Apple. But what saved me or enabled me to succeed is that when I saw Macintosh, it was a religious experience. Man, I tell you, the clouds parted, angels started to sing. It was a religious experience. And so that's this brings me to your question, which is I think that's what it takes. It's about loving what you're about to do. Now, at an extreme, can you take someone who has no education, no experience, but loves what you do and make them a success? Well, in a sense, I am proof that it can be done. But I'm not saying go find the hardest path. But I'm telling you that it's not as simple as appropriate resume, appropriate education background. Having said that, I will say that the larger the company, the more sort of rigid the thinking, the more likely you are the more likely you are to run into this kind of thinking where we require 5 years of marketing experience, MBA, and all the stuff that you would check off the box.
Yeah, well, so and it seems like you stayed there and then you left, but you were doing some advising for them. You were still involved with Apple. So tell us, why did you actually leave the company?
I left Apple the first time because I wanted to start a Macintosh software company, and I was pissed off with my boss at Apple. I left Apple the second time because I wanted to start a company in the venture capital business. So both times, more or less, I left because I wanted to start a company.
All right, well, that's good, because my next question was going to be, how should someone decide whether or not to start their own company? Because you've started more than 5 companies. I think it might be a lot more. But how would you advise people start or not start? Like, why should you do it? Why should you not? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not your psychiatrist. I think it's about, well, you start a company because I think you fall in love with a product or a service. That's one path. I think you start a company because you realize that there must be a better way. That's the Apple path. Another reason to start a company is because nobody else will hire you, so you had no choice. Hallelujah, that works too. There's all kinds of reasons.
I love it. I tell my job seekers the same thing. And I tell them, as I'm sure you understand, you can't suddenly take a vacation from being Guy Kawasaki anytime soon, because you're always going to be your brand. So you can't just take a vacation. And so if you start a company, you have to be in love with the company, and you have to be willing to do it 24/7, because you're never going to be able to leave. So That's me. So I'm absolutely Abby, your Guy Kawasaki, and we're both living the same type of life where I just can't take a vacation. So if you're going to start a company, you have to really fall in love with the company before you start it. It has to be your passion.
Yes.
That's what I think. All right. So what about what? Do you agree? Am I right?
Yeah. It has to be an obsession. Yeah.
It is an obsession. It is. Okay. So what about this? Can I assume that you've hired a lot of candidates over the years? Is that true?
Yes.
So tell us about some crazy interview experience that you had with a candidate, if you can remember.
Well, I haven't really had many crazy interview experiences with a candidate. I've had crazy experiences where, candidates accepted, they even started, they worked for a few days, and then they just totally disappeared because their former firm made them a better offer. I have that kind of story. I have a theory I'd like to explain about hiring.
Please.
Okay, so my theory on hiring is that you should conduct the first maybe 2 rounds of interviews by telephone. And the reason why you want to do this by telephone is because telephone removes some data. It removes um, what the person looks like, what the person is dressed like, and so you have to focus on the voice and the communication skills, and you can not make judgments on physical attractiveness and dress. And I think that is a great equalizer. And I would, there's I hope it's not apocryphal, but I heard that there was an interesting case where some some um, some symphony, when they interview for musicians, they put the person behind uh, blinds or something, so that the people, I guess the conductor, I don't know how you pick a symphony, but I guess the conductor cannot see who's playing the instrument, can only hear the instrument. And when they did it that way, many more women were selected. That's a very
Wow.
interesting thing, you know? You think about that. So if you have
Yeah.
to judge someone just by their music, just by their
Well, that
ability.
yeah, I mean that's similar to The Voice on TV. That's kind of how they do it. People sing and they don't see the person. And
Yeah.
I think I love that idea of doing just phone screens at the beginning. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. I think you should evangelize that. You should put
I
that out
do.
there as
I do.
yeah, it's amazing. It's a really good
Well,
idea.
well, you know what it is? I mean, have you ever met a manager who didn't think that he or she was a great judge of character instinctively and could make good hires? Seriously, have you
Um
ever met anybody who said, "No, I suck at hiring"?
no, I would say no. I've never met that person. No.
And do you think it's reasonable to assume that every manager is a good hirer?
No, I think it's reasonable to assume that most are not good hires.
Okay. Therefore, some of these people must be wrong.
Right. I agree.
So, yeah, I, in fact, I consider myself a very lousy hirer because I, you'd have to really piss me off, but um, I like almost everybody I meet. I mean, I'm just a half full kind of guy, and everybody I meet, I find something I like about them. So, I often tell organizations that I work for or that I advise or whatever, if you want me in on the interview cycle, I want to be selling, not buying. I want to help convince a candidate that you want to join the company. Don't ask me to interview people to determine if we should hire the person, because I like everybody almost.
Can I be honest with you about this? I was
No, you can
very
lie.
similar as well. I was very like that. So I was just like that. I did recruiting for 18 years,
Uh-huh.
and it killed me because I liked everybody.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was difficult for me because in recruiting, you're not allowed to tell people why they are not going to get the job. And
Yeah.
I wanted to tell everybody. And that's what caused me to become absolutely Abby, because now I do tell everybody all the secrets that recruiters don't want to tell them. And
Yeah.
so I get it. I really wasn't the best recruiter in the world. I hired a lot of people, but I did it mostly on fit. I wasn't really hiring for technical skills because
Mhm.
I like everybody, just like you. So
Mhm.
it's hard. It's not you probably shouldn't be a recruiter in your next life, just so you know.
Mm. Well, no, but I could be a great recruiter as an evangelist. See?
Yeah,
So
no, as an evangelist, sure.
right, if I'm
Sure.
if I'm
Yeah.
selling, if I'm trying to get you to join,
Yeah.
I can be very good. But if I'm buying, I'm not good.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think that's at least you know yourself, right?
That's
So,
true, for better or for worse.
no, it's good. What about now? You have this book that we're giving away as a raffle here, and it's called The Art of Social Media: Power Tips for Power Users. Can you tell us something about that in relation to how you think it might help job seekers? Because I'm sure it will help job seekers.
Yes. So, in two regards. First, obviously, if you're trying to get a marketing, PR, social media job, it would help if you understood social media. So definitely, my book could help you in that. But even if you're not, I think that many people look at people's Facebook page, LinkedIn, whatever it is, and make judgments. And these judgments are not a la eHarmony, where you fill out 29 fields of psychographic information to determine if you're going to be soulmates walking on windswept beaches holding hands for the rest of your lives together, completing each other's sentences, okay? I think people are making judgments on LinkedIn and social media more like Tinder, which is swipe left if you're hot, swipe right if you're not. And it's that fast. In a world that is happening, you better have a good avatar and a good cover photo and a good profile. And your posts, should reflect what you want a job, a company to take away. And I think people just they're like totally clueless. They just don't get this, and it's
Mhm.
kind of scary to me. And I think that LinkedIn is one of the most valuable social media networks because unless you're a total idiot, you realize that you're on you're on LinkedIn to either get a job or to hire people or to do business development. You don't go to LinkedIn to find women or men to date, right? And so on LinkedIn, more or less people are who they really are and they're trying to behave, at the best they can. And so that's why I find LinkedIn useful. But even on LinkedIn, like I don't know, to use an extreme example, yeah, sometimes I will make some remark about women's rights and like why is it that I don't know, women aren't in more positions. Well, I really am a believer. I have a wife and a daughter, so I am really into liberated, strong women. So I make some kind of statement or I post an article about that. And these idiots, they just come up and they say, well, uh Hillary Clinton is the worst possible, person in the world to run a country, and she should just, I don't know, whatever. And they go off, and then they switch the topic to gun rights, and it's like, excuse me, you realize you're on LinkedIn, and hirers are looking at you, and you're looking like a total idiot. I mean, I don't. It's America. You can think whatever you want, but it's you don't have to tell everybody you're an idiot. You don't have to buy a billboard to say you're an idiot. Um, I don't know how we got on this subject. So anyway, so yeah, that's I don't we've come a far away from how my book can help you.
Well,
Uh,
no. I mean, I guess your book is going to tell us what not to do on social media. And
yes,
I'm going to guess it's also going to tell us what to do to increase your brand, maybe? Do you have stuff like that in
absolutely.
there?
My book will help you. Well, okay. So first of all, my book cannot put lipstick on a pig and make the pig beautiful. Okay, if you're a pig, you're a pig. Now, assuming you're not a pig, I'm going to make you with your social media be as good looking as you possibly can or attractive as you can. And I don't mean attractive physically, I mean attractive as a job candidate. And so, the again, I need to get rid of this. I don't know how to get rid of it. We may have to deal with ringing for a little bit because I'm
That's
afraid if I
okay.
press that button, I'm going to lose you. Um,
I don't even
so,
hear the ringing, so don't worry about
oh,
it.
good, 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 good.
Yeah.
So, with social media, I think people tend to focus on the glass half empty, which is, you know, recruiters and admissions officers, they're going to look at your Facebook profile, look at your Snapchat, look at Twitter and all that, and they're going to make a judgment on you. Are you inappropriately clothed? Are you drunk? Are you stoned? Are you misogynist? Are you, conservative, liberal, whatever? They're going to make all these judgments. So don't do anything like that on social media. And so I think that is the half empty way of looking at social media. The half full way of looking at social media is, when I'm a serious candidate, these recruiters and headhunters are going to look at my social media. So, knowing that they're going to look at my social media, What should I make them see? And so let's take an extreme example of a high school student who wants to get into college, right? So all that kid is hearing, don't put pictures of you naked, don't put pictures of you smoking, drinking, using drugs, swearing, whatever, right? Don't do any of that, right? I would turn that upside down. I say, okay, if you want to get into a school and you know they're going to look at your Facebook timeline, then you post pictures of you, you know, captain of the soccer team. Post pictures of how you spent your summer vacation building churches in Ethiopia. Post pictures of how, on Earth Day, this is how you cleaned up the bay, right? And make these pictures, and not, you shouldn't come off like you're a freaking saint. But if you knew people are looking at your Facebook page, then market yourself on Facebook. That is a great thing. You can position yourself with your Facebook posts. And I don't mean position yourself as an idiot. I mean position yourself as a caring, intellectual, physics, AP, church building, team leader, awesome student. Like, what am I missing? This is shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and I can't wait to read your book because I think the same kinds of things. I see people putting stuff up. I always talk about sports, religion, and politics.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that no one's ever come to me and said, I can't hire this person because they're a Yankees fan and I'm a Mets fan. No one's ever said that, but I'm telling you, Guy, that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're up there talking about how, like, yay the Mets or yay the Yankees, and someone's reading it, you're not getting the job. It's just, so you got to stay away from sports, you got to stay away from religion, you got to stay away from politics. And again, the same thing with the pictures. But, one thing that LinkedIn says is that you're 7 times more likely to be clicked on if you have a LinkedIn photo. And so a lot of people don't want to put one up there.
Why not?
I think, well, they're worried about age. And, I have to ask you this question because this is a question that a lot of people ask me, and I didn't get to answer it on the call, so I'm going to let you answer it and see, because you said you were 61, right?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
So here's what's happening in the market, okay? There are job seekers that are over 40, over 50, and they're plentiful. So they're all over.
Yeah.
They're all over the country, and they're all facing the same issues. And by the way, I'm over 40 as well, and I'm not looking for a job, so it's not happening to me. But they're having trouble finding work because people are saying that they're overqualified. People are feeling like they're being told that they're too old. I don't know that people are actually saying they're too old, but they're feeling like they're too old. Do you have any thoughts about age in the workplace or anything related to that?
I mean, this is a tough one, right? Because so the thinking would be, well, if someone is, let's say, as old as 50, my God, that person is, senile, frail, I don't know what, and can't work as hard, and has kids, so is going to be defocused, and whatever, right? So I guess that would be the thinking. Like well, so first of all, if you're 50 years old and you're applying to be a management trainee, I could kind of see the logic. Why would we hire a 50-year-old for a management trainee? How happy could that person be? Or, we want that person to work for our company for 20 years, and like the math doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, who's going to work for a company for 20 years? So on the other hand, well, I guess part of me wants to take the hardline attitude that is, and it's easy for me to say, I admit this, and plenty of people are going to get pissed off when I say this, but for someone who doesn't get a job and is getting rejected, you're always going to look for reasons, right?
Yeah.
And it
true.
might be that you just aren't qualified, but
True.
are you going to tell your friends, well, I applied for a job at Apple, and I'm 50 years old, and you know what? They don't want 50-year-olds working at the Genius Bar in the Apple Store. They don't want 50-year-olds working in the Cupertino headquarters. They want 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old kids, right? And so they didn't say as much, but they didn't hire me because I'm old. Okay? Well, maybe they didn't hire you because you freaking don't know anything about iOS or Macintosh, you know? Are you telling your friends that? I'm a total idiot. I don't understand Macintosh and iOS, and I went in for an Apple interview. I didn't get hired. I think it's because I'm old. Maybe it's because I'm incompetent. What a concept. Um, so, it could be that. And you
It's
also,
true.
like everybody who doesn't have a job complains they don't have a job, right? So, it would be one thing if all the young people said, "Oh my God, I am a young person. I can get a job anytime I want. All my friends have multiple offers. I got multiple offers. It's because I'm young and I'm hot and I'm smart and I got a lot of energy, right?" That's not the
Yeah,
case. Young people are complaining there's no jobs. Old
that's
people are
right.
complaining there's no jobs. So maybe it's
That's
not
right.
age because everybody's
That's right.
complaining they got jobs. Maybe it's
That's right.
incompetence. Maybe it's
Could
lack of
be.
interview skills. It could be a lot of
Yeah,
things besides age.
that's right. That's right. And when I meet with people, I do, a one-on-one consultation
Yeah.
with someone, and it's usually not their age, even though they think it is, but it's
Yeah.
usually something else that I discover, and
Uh-huh.
I don't. I just sometimes it might be their age, and I ask them questions to try to determine like what did the company say, and then the other thing I say is if the company doesn't want to hire you because you're too old, why would you want to work for them anyway? Because you're going to be miserable
Exactly.
there anyway. It's like it's not going to be the right situation for you. So just
Yeah.
thank God that you found that out now instead of finding it out after you got there and were miserable. So
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. This is tricky for both of us to say because at some level, it's easy for me to say this and for you to say this because we're not looking. Like if
right,
we
I
were
know.
looking, maybe we would have this. But I guess in like so for me, if I applied for a job and I didn't get it, I could say, well, it's because I'm 61 years old and I'm Asian,
Mhm.
or I'm black, or I'm
Mhm.
Hindi. I mean, something, right? I mean, but I think the first box everybody should check is, am I competent? Okay, because it seems to me that in this world there's a shortage of competent people. So if you're telling me that this company is so stupid that they're saying you are competent but you are too old, so we're not hiring you, boy, that is a pretty dumbass company, right? Because
Mhm. No kidding.
I mean seriously, look.
And by the way, I worked
Yeah.
for a company like that. They didn't discriminate against older people, but there were some other issues like that. And
Huh?
I found that out within a couple of weeks, and I knew that I didn't want to stay there, and I ended up staying there too long. But all I could say is you don't want to go to a company that you feel is discriminating against you on an interview. You just don't. It's
Yeah.
just not the right culture fit, and there's going to be trouble once you get there. And why would you want to do that? So I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
totally. Oh
Well,
my
I
goodness, I
I
could
just
talk to you all night. I
yeah
could
no,
talk
but
to you all night.
uh, I just think it's very important for I'll tell you a funny story. So there's
Please.
a group, and they're running a seminar in Hawaii, about overcoming racial prejudice and all that. And so they wanted me to come speak because I'm from Hawaii, and um, I have been successful and I'm visible as an Asian American and all this, right? And I told them yeah, a day ago. I said, I understand why you want me to come, but you just have to understand when you put me on that stage, and if you want me to make the case that this is how I overcame racial prejudice to succeed, I can't do it because I have not in my career experienced racial prejudice. I have not
Mm-hmm.
overcome, this kind of prejudicial thing. So I'm not a poster child if that's your thesis. If that's not your thesis, okay, I'm appropriate. So I once interviewed Condoleezza Rice and for a previous book of mine, and she said something that stuck with me to this day, which is, you know what, in life, if you believe you're a victim you're a victim. If you don't believe you're a victim, you're not a victim. If you want to go
I
through
love
your life thinking, I'm old, I've been victimized. I'm Asian, I'm victimized. I'm black, I'm victimized. I'm gay, I'm victimized. I'm not saying that, sometimes you don't get victimized for those things. You do. But if you have the mental perspective of the reason why I can't succeed is because I'm a victim, it's just that much harder to succeed.
Yeah, I love it. I love that quote. That's really good. And I believe it 100%. I think it's really brilliant, actually. So thank you for that story. So I would literally talk to you all night, but I know you probably have other things to do. So why don't you leave us with just one final inspirational thought for my job seekers. What do you want to tell them?
Uh, Inspirational thought for job seekers. Wow. Um, I think that for the right company, for a company that you fall in love with, I think the start is that you love what they do. Because that just makes it much easier to love the company and wake up every day. So I loved Macintosh. Could I have been an evangelist for Windows? No, because I hate Windows. And so,
I'm not going to
you
tell
know,
Bill Gates that. Okay,
yeah,
I'm just
well,
not
he
going to
doesn't
tell him.
care. And so, no, I wish life was so easy as, well, do what you love and the money will follow. I don't
Yeah.
think that that's true either, because I love hockey, and believe me, I will never make money playing hockey, okay? But
Mhm.
um, in a perfect world, you love what the product or service does.
That's great.
Okay?
I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending this
My
time with
pleasure.
us.
All the best to you.
We've had some comments coming through, people saying, "Guy's my hero," a bunch of really nice comments. I'll email them to you later so you can see them.
They
But
should aim higher when looking for heroes.
oh, come on. Come on. No, really. I mean, you wrote 13 books. I mean, not everybody does that, and you're an inspiration to many people. So thanks for everything you do.
Well, thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.